How to Tame an Uncontrollable Situation. Hello and welcome to Throw Your Parents Under the Bus podcast. With me today is veteran crash investigator and driver safety expert Mike Pehl. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing awesome.
All right, glad to have you here. And of course, Natasha Johnson, who culls through the many observations of our wonderful students who have to, and because they have to fulfill the enrichment activity and send us back an email about what they learned while doing that activity. That's one of the things that we love to have them do because it's real life situations. So right now, I'm going to hand this over to Natasha to read us the observation that helped us decide on today's content. Natasha?
Yes, so we have Edie from Hopkins, and Edie says for enrichment activity 3, my dad and I talked, and his scary experience in his car crash. So he must have had a car crash, and this is his scary experience he was sharing. Is the driver of his car, one of his friends, was not being smart and tried hitting an animal in the middle of the road. He then lost control of the car and they spun into a ditch. My dad wasn't wearing a seatbelt, so he flew out of the car. Luckily for him, the only injury he got was a big cut on his forehead, but he learned his lesson that the outcome could have been a lot worse and will always wear his seatbelt now.
Edie, good for your dad. Tell him kudos from Mike because
He's part of the clique now.
yes, yes, exactly. And the reason for that is we always hear a story that Uncle Eddie 35 million years ago had a car crash and wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and dang it, if he had his seatbelt on, he would have been
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah, I've
And
heard that too.
everybody takes that, and it's absolutely the worst statement I ever hear because 1% of the time that works. It's the other 99 people that died because that one lived. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, Edie, great, good story here because we can talk about it. Now, I'm just going to go way back into my time and my grandpa. Okay, so up in northern Minnesota on dirt roads, we were taught. So back then, skunks had rabies, lots of
Mhm.
rabies. We were taught to seek and destroy when a skunk ran into the middle of the road, meaning you accelerate and you go run them over. Okay, we were just taught
Did it
that.
stink? I just want to ask that.
Well, we're going to get to that
Okay, okay.
because
And who wouldn't go
people,
hunting for skunks then?
yeah,
But anyways,
Just a
people,
couple questions.
people, um, nobody wants to hit a skunk, and people roll their cars over a dead skunk in the road because it smells so bad. I mean, not only am I going to die because I don't want to smell that skunk on the car, I don't want to leave the car outside for 2 more weeks or whatever. So I'm going to go have a head-on collision because of this dead skunk. So we got to get a mindset on that, people, that all of a sudden that roadkill might be there. And I'm here to tell you this. Most of the dead animals that you see on the road, if you take them in the middle of your car underneath, they will clear that clearance. I'm saying most of them. A deer, no. Okay.
Gosh.
But if you're going to swerve or go around that animal that's dead, road killed in the road, and you're going to take that on the left side, you better keep in mind at 60 miles an hour, in 2 seconds, you cover 2 football fields. Think about that. So you can't even see what's coming up, and all of a sudden it's there. So if you are that driver that is aware of everything coming at you, to go around that little object coming up, are you going to the right or to the left? Now, if we go back to classroom, and I'm going to bring this up, and Jane mentioned that we do these um, uh,
Enrichments.
enrichments at the end of every chapter, and we get the parents involved with this. So remember, one of my statements is we always want to know what our shoulder is. Is it blacktop or is it dirt? How deep is the ditch? What's in the ditch? We go through that statement or we go through that teaching. The reason for that is if I have a blacktop shoulder, it's very simple to the right to move around an animal. Very safe. Very unsafe to go around an animal to the left. unless you know where the cars are, unless you were ready for that. And remember, we always talked about, have you trained your mind? Because when you train your mind on defense, when it comes to driving, you will react. Okay. Yeah, we'll click it again. But if you are the startled person when that happens, that's where disaster strikes. So let's get back to the skunk, the raccoon, the possum, the deer. Remember, we don't, well, they actually do a commercial, steer clear and hit the deer. Okay, we don't go into a ditch to miss a deer. And people do, what if it comes in my windshield? Out of the millions of deer hit, it's actually even less than 1% even get to the windshield, let alone come through it. Unfortunately, we have a movie out there called Tommy Boy, and the deer comes in the windshield and actually wakes up and talks to the driver. So that doesn't happen in real life a lot. Okay. So getting back to the skunk, here's what I learned. Because I used to always say, well, God, I don't want the car to stink and all that. And here's what I was told. A moving skunk cannot spray. It needs its back legs to tighten up to spray. And as long as the tail is down, it cannot spray. It's the car behind you that gets it. There you go. Case closed. So anyway, I'm not telling you to go out and seek and destroy the animals. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just saying, you know what? Here we went out looking for an animal in the older days, or the earlier days. Like I say, I come from my grandparents were farmers, and rabbited skunks were not good, and they got into chickens, and they got so you took care of whatever was alienating the farm. And that was the way because when you're driving at night, skunks come up on the dirt roads and they run down the middle. Raccoons on the side of the road. By the way, what did the raccoon say to the chicken?
I don't know.
The
At
raccoon
least I
said to
can
the
get it.
chicken.
No, what did the chicken say to the raccoon? At least I can get across the road.
Oh,
You never see a dead chicken on the side of the road. You always see the dead raccoons on the side of the road. So
You're right.
yeah, anyway, let's end that right now. So
yeah.
listen, we
That's
don't
all right.
swerve to miss an animal. And if you are going to swerve, you better know where you're swerving to. And you better make dang sure if you're riding in a car and that driver that you don't know is going to swerve or not, you better make dang sure you have your seatbelt on. Okay. Because a lot of things happen after you decide to swerve, and you need to be ready for it all. So when you can take the animal, insurance will fix the car. It's an act of God, they call it. So no longer do the deer strikes go against your insurance. Your insurance will still cover them. Um, and at least in the state that I come from, it's not a chargeable accident. So, and if you do, I'll just give you a little tip there. If you do hit a deer and you're able to drive the car, and the police and you call the police to report that you hit a deer and your car is movable, the number one question your insurance is going to ask you when you report the claim is, did you call the police? And the answer is you need to call the police and report it. And they will ask you, are you hurt? Is your car drivable? They might not do that police report, but your statement to the insurance company is, I did call the police. So very, very important.
Well, those are good tips. And yes, I was hit by 3 deer at one time. So I remember it did not go through my window. It did leave a lot of hair on my mirrors. And somebody came up to us and they asked if we were okay. And then they said, do you want the deer? And I said, no. And so they said, well, we'll take it.
Yes.
So things happen. Anyway, I guess that's it for today's episode. And if you've learned something today, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode with your friends and family, and maybe even that driver who leaves their blinker on for 3 miles. Why is that? Or got hit by a deer. Anyway, you can catch every episode on YouTube, at Drive Safe, Ride Safe 1, which is the number, not the word. And you can also subscribe there, and it's free. And you will be the first to know when a new episode drops. Of course, if you have a question or a topic that you want us to tackle, you can email us at drivesaferidesafe@gmail.com. We actually read them, and your message might spark our next episode. I'm Jane Ubel, and this has been Throwing Your Parents Under the Bus podcast. And remember, don't ride if you don't trust your driver. But always
Drive safe.
Ride safe.
.com.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.